about scams. And this is always a very popular and an important discussion topic. What I'd like to do now is dive in and meet our panel members here. And today we've got Brian Watson with R.O.S.E Advisory and John Schwartz with the Center for Combating Elder Financial Abuse. Really psyched to have both of you on today for this important topic. Before we dive in and get into some scams and how we can avoid them, prevent them, help others, let's get to know the two of you. Brian, I will start with you. Tell us a little bit about your background in the organization you represent.
Well, thanks, Steve. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world today. My name is Brian Watson. I am a retired special agent. I spent 28 years in federal law enforcement as a special agent with IRS criminal investigation. So we investigated 100% financial crimes. And when I was an IRS special agent, I was also a PIO, public information officer. So I routinely met with the public, warned them about tax scams, financial scams, whether in presentations or on the radio and TV. And then I connected with R.O.S.E, Resources Outreach to Safeguard the Elderly. I retired, got hired on to be a community outreach specialist, and I'm doing all the fun things that I like to do, warning the public, giving people good advice, pointing them in the right direction. But also I feel like I'm just saving the world. As John will attest, it's bad out there when it comes to scams. It's gotten a lot worse and it's only going to get worse. And it's very motivating for me to get out there and warn people about these scams.
And I love it. And I'm going to drop your organization's website into chat there so everybody can reference that. John, I've met you and the several times out in the community. But let's for those that may not know you and your organization, let's get to know you a little bit better.
Hey, thank you very much, Steve, and welcome everybody. So I'm John Schwartz. I'm the founder and president of the Center for Combating Elder Financial Abuse, and we stood this up in February of 2021, just a couple of weeks after I retired from the FBI after 24 years of serving as a special agent also. I never worked this violation while I was in the FBI, but I saw that our nation's effort to combat this crime, and I thought a nonprofit would be a good way to reach as many people as possible. So that's what we do. And the unique approach that we take to at the center is we look at the crime through the eyes of the predator. We want individuals to understand what these predators look like and how they think. And hopefully that will help individuals detect these predators before they gain control of them. But we're really excited to be working with lots of nonprofits to include R.O.S.E. So this is going to be a great conversation.
Yeah, and one of the things that I've discovered in meeting both of you and talk about purposeful living, I mean, FBI and an IRS agent, sort of devoting a new chapter of your lives and finding purpose in helping others. I admire both of you for your service to our country, but then for having the motivation to get out there and minimize the exploitation of others. That's very commendable. But one of the things that I discovered when I met each of you individually is like, wow, hey, do you know John or do you know Brian? It's like, yeah, we know each other. Is that I'm really excited about this discussion because what I hope it can do is bring together the others that are out there spreading the word and trying to help and inspire others to either volunteer and help your organizations or start a similar organization to do this. We need more people like you all. Okay, well, let's I'll let each of you sort of jump in and just kind of what do we need to know? Like this is a problem. We read it on the headlines, but what are you all seeing out there? You got the feet on the street. What are some of the things that we need to know about scams against older adults?
Well, I'll go first, Steve. What I've learned in the last 10 months is um, very smart people fall for scams. Every single person I've met is a very smart person. They typically live on their own, handle their own finances, travel, volunteer, and sometimes work. But the problem is they got in over their heads because these financial predators, and I've been stealing John's term predator. I haven't told him that. I love the term predator because they're lurking the internet and other places trying to devour prey. Um, you're in over your head when you're dealing with these people because they're highly sophisticated. When I'm talking about the scammers, they're sophisticated, they're well financed, they're organized, they're reading from scripts that are proven to work. And when you pick up the phone and talk to one of these people, you're in over your head. These are not your daddy's scammers anymore, and it's only going to get worse. The numbers prove it out.
Okay, I agree. I mean, it's very sophisticated. It's they've had thousands of people to sort of test their scripts out on. So they're just getting better and better. John, any thoughts that you'd like to share?
Well, Brian's 100% right. Let's talk about the victims first, right? I mean, anyone can get scammed, and I mean anyone. If the right predator comes across the right person at the right time, they can easily be scammed, and that's important to understand. Also, I'll take that a step further and say we never place blame on the victim. We never say, well, how could you fall for that? Instead, what we do, we take 100% of that blame and we place it on the criminal who made the criminal decision to target, groom, and attack their victim. So that's part of it. Also, I want to show one of the worst cases that I've seen. Do you mind if I try to share my screen?
No, I love it. And actually, I love the fact that you're going to share sort of a case study, because I think when we hear these real life stories, it really, at least for me, it prompts other questions and it makes it very real.
Fantastic. Well, I'm happy to share this one. So this is from the DOJ press release. And first of all, you see the date of this. This is August 18th, 2022, just less than 2 years ago. California man received a 10-year sentence following a guilty plea. But right below it, he masterminded a $300 million Ponzi scheme targeting retirees and military pension holders. So the first thing I'll say is, for a large part of your audience, I wonder if they've ever seen this crime before. This individual successfully stole $300 million. So going to Brian's point, what he said, these individuals are extremely sophisticated. They are capable of stealing $300 million. And I'll direct the audience attention to the first paragraph, second and third sentence. It said, exploited military veterans in desperate financial straits and targeted elderly investors seeking a safe retirement. So I'm an Army veteran myself of 9 years, and I take targeting military veterans very seriously. Have a chance right now to be working with Pennsylvania Department of Military Veterans Affairs, as well as Westchester University outside Philadelphia. And we're going to be conducting a briefing with Pennsylvania Veterans Affairs later this month, because they're doing a superb job of protecting elderly military veterans. But we showed them this case last year to say, you were right on target, because military veterans are being exploited. And then at the very bottom, the last sentence, this individual, Scott Cohen, was able to place more than 13,000 veterans in exploitative loans. That's an incredible amount of veterans. And then a little bit more on him. Here's the actual picture of him, but that is a convicted predator, and I call him the Bernie Madoff of elder financial abuse. But I'll go a step further. That case is from 2022, a Ponzi scheme targeting veterans and the elderly. Well, this year we found yet another case, and this is from February 8th of just this year. And the first sentence says, operated a 13-year Ponzi scheme that victimized more than 400 investors and caused a loss of over $49,000. And then the last paragraph of the second paragraph, or the second sentence of the second paragraph, Woods abused the trust of his victims, including retirees, seniors, and military veterans who lost their life savings. So I'll stop sharing, but I share those two cases because now we see a trend. Now we have two hard data points from 2022 and 2024 that shows that elderly military veterans are being targeted for Ponzi schemes. And we think that's helpful information for our audience.
Yeah, I mean, that would be number one. You've got to be a very low person to, well, just to target older adults in general, but older adults who have served our country. I mean, come on, this is crazy. Let me see. We've got a couple we got a question here. Okay. Will we have access to the presentation materials during the webinar? Yeah, anything that we share, I'll make sure that John and Brian share that, but this discussion is being recorded, Lindsay. So that's good. And then Jackie says Jackie is director of the Elder Abuse Awareness Program at Shauna. I mean, this is number one, this is great. Okay, good. And Jackie has her contact information there. That's based in the Baltimore area. And then she says, I don't agree that people are falling for it. I think that our language is very important. And I apologize if I used some I agree. Language is important. I apologize for that. Jackie says the criminal goes to school to learn how to exploit people, like card dealers in Las Vegas go to school. Okay. And okay, Michelle says, I lost $7,000 to a scammer after my husband died, and I was emotionally vulnerable. Michelle, I think this is a great time for me to bring up something that John shared with me right before we got on. And let me share my screen. And on John's website, the Center for Combating Elder Financial Abuse, on the main page here, there is a link to a survey called what is your vulnerability score? And this is a survey that was put together by Wayne State University, who John and Brian partner with. And I took this financial vulnerability survey right before we got on for this discussion. And I found it to be rather eye-opening for myself. But John, do you want to talk a little bit about that that survey and what it's measuring and kind of the goals of that?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, thank you to Wayne State University and Dr. Peter Lichtenberg, who created that survey. It's an incredible tool. I reached out to him, asked him if we could put it on our website, and he said, yeah, absolutely. So, hey, first of all, thanks to Dr. Lichtenberg and Wayne State University. So this survey, the first thing I say about the survey, that is my one-size-fits-all answer to our nation's 58 million elders and their loved ones. That is the step one in protecting yourself and hardening the target against these predators. If you take that survey, and especially if you take it with a trusted and responsible family member or a close friend, now you both are working as a team and you're seeing your own vulnerabilities. And once you become aware of your vulnerabilities, now you know where to concentrate to harden the target. So taking an individual who's a single, not married, and maybe they're lonely, well, they might be susceptible to a romance scam more so than a Ponzi scheme that I just showed. So now they understand that. Now, okay, what actions can I take, or can we brainstorm together as a team to harden the target? So that's the underlying principle behind that survey. And again, I think Dr. Lynchenberg did an amazing job making a very simple 17 question survey. Takes what, 10, 15 minutes to take,
Yeah,
right? I
it
mean,
took
now,
about 10 minutes for me, and I wanted to, I brought this up because Michelle says that, you know, when her husband died, she was emotionally vulnerable. And when I filled out that, I mean, I've got a job, my wife's got a job, you know, we're not living an isolated life, but as I answered some of the questions, I realized that in, like, for example, I mean, I've got, you know, my daughter is going away to college, and I am actually financially vulnerable because I am sort of like, oh, geez, how am I going to pay this tuition? You know, and but it's okay to be financially vulnerable. It's, I think the key is that we need to be aware of that so that we are taking steps to look at the world through an accurate lens. Michelle, I'm really sorry that happened, but and I appreciate you sharing your story because it may help somebody else who's listening to this. Now, Mary has a question, and I'm curious if you all have feedback, or anybody in the audience. You know, we got Jackie too. Mary asks, are criminals still looking through garbage for financial information? It seems that it is much more common that scammers are using technology and phone calls.
I asked that question of my friend Dan, who's a postal inspector, and he told me criminals are definitely migrating away from the days of dumpster diving. Now, I still shred stuff because I have good habits of not putting personal information in the trash, because you never know. But our information's out there, and the biggest thing you got to be prepared is, you know, guarding your financial information online. Be careful what websites you go to, and then be very careful with the phishing emails. Phishing with the PH, I tell people that's the most common scam out there, just because it can be replicated thousands, if not millions of times, where they just want you to click on links. And the criminals are getting better and better at making them look legit. So never click on links unless you're 100% sure. And don't look at your email on this little guy here. It's, the screen's too small. Use a big screen where you can see where that email is coming from. Hover your mouse over that hyperlink. Don't click on it. You can hover your mouse. But I always tell people phishing is the most prevalent, and that's the way that most people are going to get your personal information. Well, also data breaches, but there's a lot of times not much we can do about those, unfortunately.
Yeah, anything to add to that, John?
yeah, I mean, that's exactly right. I think these predators are gaining information any way possible. They may still there may be some predators out there still going through trash, going through mail, getting information. But by and large, I think social media is giving them a lot of the information that they're looking for. And what I want to the thought that I just came up with is they are phishing, and I've seen a couple of these tech support scams where a pop-up screen will come up saying your computer's has been infected, and call this number directly. So what I want to share with everybody to understand what to do on this, take a look at your computer. I'm on a MacBook Pro. I see the icon at the top right hand side to where I can immediately click on that, and now I am off the internet. So if you have a pop-up screen come up, and in most cases they look incredibly real and they'll scare you, they'll get that emotional reaction that they're looking for. In some cases, they may even have an alarm, which will annoy you and it'll make you act quickly, and it'll make you click on what Brian said, don't click on. But if you know how to immediately disengage from the internet by just going to that icon. Now the predator no longer has a control of you through that website.
So, let me sort of, and I know that this isn't a perfect demo, but we're responding to questions that y'all are asking. I want to show y'all something and I'd love for our two experts to comment on it. So this is my email, my Gmail box, and I intentionally clicked on the promotions tab because, as you can see, I got a bunch of promotions in here. But I'm not clicking on any that I think would be a scam. I'm clicking on one of my friends' promotional email, and that is the Inova Parkinson's and Movement Disorder center's email. Sonia Gao's good friend of mine. Okay. But what I want to show people, something that I learned that I was not aware of after going through some scam training, is, let's say that you click on an email. Before you click on anything, like, unless it's a like trusted source where I know I can trust anything coming from Inova, but if you're questioning it, if you see this button here that says click here to register, if I right click on it, okay, then I can where is it, show or copy link address, okay, and then I can copy that link address into into another little document, and and now I am seeing, well, okay, that's not a great example. I was doing this, but what I see here is that it's Inova is referenced it right from the get-go. Boy, I sort of botched this, guys. I was trying to do a great demo, but that didn't necessarily deliver the result that I was going to say. But I wanted to pick up on John's point, is that sometimes you get an email that looks like it's coming from the IRS, or it looks like it's coming from Inova, but when you actually look at that link, it's there's misspellings in it and what have you, and it's leading you to another website.
Right, and Steve, I mentioned it briefly, but what you did works, but you can also just hover your
Ah,
mouse over it,
okay, Nicole said
and in
that
the
too. Okay.
right in the lower left-hand corner, it shows. So if it all of a sudden was coming from a Gmail account or some really long, obscure website, you know it's a fraud. So
Mhm.
you just got to be careful. I received one from Xfinity that looked real legit, but I hovered my mouse over that update button, and I could tell right away it was going to a really bad place.
Okay. And so yeah, when we're talking about here, I'll try to do a demo on hovering. Just I'll try to go back to that just to show folks, since I opened the door here on that. I'm on Inova Parkinson's, and what you can kind of see here is that when I hover over this, that down here at the lower level, down below, I can see the link of the website that it's going to. Okay. Thanks you all, and thanks Nicole for jumping in with that. Okay, let's see. Adam says, as a certified financial professional specializing in helping seniors, I see this type of elder abuse quite often. In fact, we have a whole department at Edward Jones solely dedicated to protecting our clients from these scams. This is great to know that the and like, think about the credit card scams and what the credit card companies are doing to protect this. I'm really delighted to hear that Edward Jones has a scam protection as well. Do you all and find yourself working with financial planners in this area?
I hear stories from financial planners. I mean, I spoke at a Rotary Club, and a financial advisor came up to me and he said his client was trying to pull out a couple $100,000 from his investment account so he could pay the taxes for a sweepstakes that he won. And the financial advisor said, "Sir, you're getting scammed, you know." But it takes everybody to stop these scams. So it's not just nonprofits like John and I are part of, but it's the financial industry. It's all the banks because they're on the front lines. They see people who come in trying to withdraw money. It's all the law enforcement agencies. We all have to work together. I've learned in my 10 months in the nonprofit world, it's all about collaboration. Everyone can help everybody out because what I've learned from my law enforcement days is scammers aren't going away. We can only dry up the pool of potential victims through education, through prevention, through outreach. We're not going to prosecute our way out of this problem because it's way too profitable. There's people all over the world trying to steal our hard-earned money, and but I hear these stories from these financial advisors all the time because their clients will come in and they're being scammed, and the scammers are coaching them and telling them what to do and what to say because they know that there will be roadblocks that bankers and financial advisors will set up to protect their clients.
Um, okay, Christina is asking, do either of you present this to local senior communities? And the reason she's bringing this up is because her dad is at a community, and she feels like it would be really helpful for the management and the residents. And I think again, just because you move into one of these communities doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be protected in this area.
No, 100% on that. So I didn't mention this in the introduction, but I'm based out of Haymarket, Virginia, near Manassas, and I've had the chance to go speak to senior adult senior living all the way down to Virginia Beach, to Loudoun County, and also to Culpeper County. And I enjoy those presentations because everybody's locked on, and I tell them, any of you can be susceptible to these especially these online scams. So yeah, thank you for the idea, and that's exactly what we do.
Okay.
That the in-person presentations is our bread and butter at R.O.S.E. Joyce Petrowski is our founder and president of the board of directors, and that was our main focus is doing these in-person presentations. And I love doing them because people are so intensely listening to the stories. Because when I do this, I tell a lot of victims' stories and how smart they were and how they got swindled. And people look at me thinking, wow, that could happen to me as well. But we go out there, we do presentations, and then we like to go back in 6 months to just refresh and update as well.
Okay. Great.
And oh, by the way, I'm in Arizona. So R.O.S.E.
Okay.
is an Arizona nonprofit. We would like to expand, but right now we're just focusing on the state of Arizona. But there are nonprofits like ours all over the country.
Yeah, and part of our goal in having this discussion with two of you, and we've got Jackie in the audience, is, maybe there's a way we can bring all of these like-minded organizations across the country together and just help more people. Okay, there's a couple of questions. Trying to get through these. Okay, Wendy, what about an Apple device? There's no mouse and there's no keyboard, and I don't know how to immediately disengage. Any tips on that? And I'm assuming she's talking about like an iPad or what have you.
Yeah. So on my MacBook Pro, the icon that I'm looking at, it's a dot, then a curved line above it, and then a larger curved line above it. And if you click on that, then it says, disconnect with internet, and I'll just simply connect there. Now that individual that's communicating through this device no longer has contact with you. And let me talk about the contact really quick. Whether it's on the computer or it's on the telephone speaking to you, or it's through email, This is how we look at the crime. We look at the crime through the eyes of the predator. And the main goal for any predator, these financial predators, but even homicidal predators, is control. And we measure control on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the highest. So if that predator can gain a control level of 8, 9, and 10 on you, they can steal your entire life savings. So this is how they gain control of you. They tap into one of your emotions. The most successful emotion that I see is fear. Hey, we're the IRS. We're coming after you. You've downloaded bad stuff onto your computer. Or hey, we're a tech support company, and we're looking at your computer right now. You have viruses, but they instill that fear. So fear is a great emotion for these predators, as well as love, and that's why romance scams are so effective. So that predator will gain control of you through those emotions, and they'll gain a high level control, 8, 9, or 10. Well, in these instances, these tech support scams, as soon as you click off the internet using that icon up there, that control level went from a 9 to a 0, and that predator is done.
Okay, very good words of wisdom there, and that sort of revolves with Edith's question. Are there any tips to alert us of scams? I know we've talked about a few of those, but I want to make sure that I give you all, because you've been talking about this, you've heard these stories. It's sort of to reiterate anything that we can do to help ourselves or help others.
Yes, Steve. So I have found that most scams follow the same basic pattern. It's a three-part pattern. You're contacted out of the blue, and that could be by, phone, email, social media, text message, and then they give you a compelling reason to act. John just mentioned fear. Fear is the biggest one. Your grandchild's in jail, your bank account's been shut off, you don't have social security benefits anymore, or you won a prize. They get you all excited. They want you to make poor decisions. They want you to react quickly and not think. And then the third part is the money. They always want money because scammers are in the business to scam. So they're going to ask for cryptocurrency. Also, Bitcoin is the most well-known one, or a prepaid gift card, or wire transfer, or Zelle. And then the other thing that you'll always know with these scams is they never give you time to think. They want you to make a rash decision. There's a sense of urgency. You need to do this now. They keep you on the phone while you're driving down to the store to buy that prepaid debit card to pay your taxes off, or the prepaid card. So that's we actually have an infographic called Anatomy of a Scam, and it really shows how most scams follow that pattern. And if you can just be mentally aware, and then all of a sudden see those signs and go, you know what? Why are they rushing me? Why are they demanding money now? Why are they making me pay in a way I'm not used to? You know what? You take a time out. You got to have that friend, family member, neighbor who you can go talk to and get a second opinion, or call your local police department, or call me, anybody. But time is your friend when it comes to these scams. Criminals want you to do things very, very rushed.
Yeah. Can I add on that? Brian, you mentioned the time element. That's huge. That's exactly right. Because if they can speed you up and rush you, you are going to make the poor decisions that you mentioned. Whether it's out of fear, hey, go stay on the phone with me as you go to the bank to pull out your money, and they'll give you a script, and they'll also isolate you. Do not tell anybody about this, or you'll get in big trouble. So they'll isolate. But going back to the speed creates confusion. It also creates confusion in a romance scam. If somebody's engaged with somebody else on a through email or an online dating site, this individual will move the relationship to a much higher level very quickly. And for somebody who's vulnerable, who's lonely, this is going to take them by surprise, and this is what they're going to want. And they'll say, well, wait a minute, this is moving fast. Yeah, but we've connected. I feel the same feelings you do. And that speed will also cause confusion. And then as far as the type of ways to received money for these different crimes. Cryptocurrency is a big thing, but I've just come across something that I'd like to share my screen again if I can.
Sure.
All right. So this is a case from just this year, but these predators are now using gold bars, and they'll send couriers to these individuals as to pick up the payment. So this case is just February 23rd, 2024, and this individual, if you read into the second paragraph here, started with they've been contacted and your computer's been hacked or a similar computer intrusion. We're going to send a government aid, and you'll see in there a fake government agent would like to discuss the incident and validate the false story. And then they're going to send somebody to your house to either, they're going to direct you to purchase gold, as you see there in number 2, purchase gold or other valuable items, and then they'll send the agent to come pick up that. So this is alarming. This is something that we saw here in February 2023, but I want to take this a step further. Here's another case. This is out of Bradenton, Florida. And now here's a military veteran, and that's a top priority for us, lost $1.5 million to the gold bar scheme, and these predators played upon their patriotism. And I want everybody to take notice of the date here. This is May 14th, 2024. This is just last month, okay? But out of Florida, May 14th, 2024. Let me go a step further. Here's another article. Now, this is May 16th from Silver Spring, Maryland, from WUSA Channel 9. And two separate news stations from 2 different states, 2 days apart, are reporting on this gold bar scam. So they'll put the fear into you that your computer's been hacked, that you need to pay a certain amount of money, but now they're using gold, having the individuals go out and buy gold bars. And in this case here, the first paragraph, this individual lost $900,000.
And you'll notice in that press release, it's from Leisure World in Silver Spring, and that kind of ties into Kim's question. She says, within senior living environments, are residents more at risk if they live in a senior living community than other victims? Kim, my gut level feeling on this is that I think we're all equally vulnerable. However, a community like Leisure World, that is a gated community where the residents live independently within that community, versus an assisted living where the residents are in their apartment but they're under supervision of staff. The one reason that I think that residents of a community like Leisure World should be very aware of their vulnerability is because the con men and women that are out there geographically know that here's a bunch of older adults, and there's going to be a percentage that might be more vulnerable.
Yeah, 100%. And let me go a step further. Same article, for the second sentence here, it says, but more than a dozen Montgomery County residents have been victimized. So, right, I mean, this one article is saying, hey, we have over a dozen individuals in Montgomery County alone that have been hit by this. So I wanted to bring up the gold bar scheme, and it goes back to what Brian was answering. Hey, if somebody's asking you to go buy gold bars and a federal agent's going to come pick them up, hats up, or your radar should be up that's a scam as well. Hey, go buy a cryptocurrency, and you've never dealt with cryptocurrency. That's another one.
And the other thing, because I've heard several of these scam presentations before, if the IRS, if you're getting this call and it's however they get to you or a loved one, it's from the IRS, and hey, look, you owe, and you need to go do this, that, and the other. You can hang up that phone and call 411, get the number of the IRS, call them up, figure out, you can call the IRS and find out if you owe money on taxes. Correct, Brian?
Right. Absolutely. The last 10 years of my career, that it seemed like all I talked about was that IRS phone scam. But it's the same thing if you get a call from your bank and they say someone's trying to steal money from your account. Immediately, if you get a call from the bank, you tell them, I'm going to call you back from a verified number. You hang up the phone, you get your debit card out or your credit card out or whatever card it is, you flip it over, you call the number on the back of that card. Any legitimate person at the bank will completely understand. They want you to do that. But what happens is they got you on the phone, they're high pressure, they're really good at what they do, and they tell you someone's stealing money from your bank account, and they're convince you to go down to a local store, a liquor store, and you're putting cash into a Bitcoin ATM, and they've got you. I met a lady here in Arizona who lost $200,000. It was the bulk of her life savings. She got a phone call. Someone convinced her that there was an insider at the bank trying to steal her money, and it's tragic. And in her case, she actually went on TV and shared her story. She contemplated suicide. She was going to take all her sleeping pills, but luckily she reached out. But if you get a call like that, hang up and call a verified number.
Yeah, and don't ask the person on the phone. Don't say, I want to call to talk to your boss or what have you. You can just hang up. You don't need to be polite or anything like that. Call the IRS, call the bank, and you might be on the phone for the afternoon, but at least you are getting to the correct person. Sorry, John. Yeah.
And let me add to that, right? Brian's exactly right. Tell them, hey, I'm going to hang up and call back. But Brian, what is that predator going to say when you say, hey, I'm going to hang up? That predator is going to say, oh, no, don't hang up. Don't hang up. They have control of you while you're on that device. And as soon as you hang up on them, they've lost that control. So they'll tell you, no, don't hang up or the trouble's going to be exponentially worse. They're going to use fear tactics, but definitely hang up.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's see. Let's see. A message here from Walter, who's a volunteer with the Montgomery County Police Department Keeping Seniors Safe program. Keeping Seniors Safe offers free talks to county community groups. So this is in Montgomery County, Maryland. And he's got his contact info there. I think somebody was asking about a Montgomery County presentation. So Walter, this is awesome that you're on this call today. Michelle says the scam that I dealt with lasted several months until he told me something I knew could not possibly be true. So like, think about this, and this is exactly what we're talking about here, folks, is how skilled these folks are to a smart person like Michelle was having a dialogue for months, and then she picked up on something that wasn't true.
Wow.
Let me go to that really quick. Predator 101, Criminal 101. Every criminal, every predator knows how to lie, and this is how you lie. You put a little bit of truth into that lie, and now you've created a confusion. And that's what these individuals will do.
Okay, let's see. Rebecca says, I bought some furniture. I was given a phone number to call for delivery. The furniture company delivery and I had conversations before, but one time someone cut in before the call went through and offered a gift for being a good customer. How on earth did they get this number and know what I was buying and cut through? Have you heard, it sounds like she legitimately bought some furniture from a company and somehow there was a gift being offered. Uh, any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes you have inside people who sell personal information and things like that. Nothing surprises me. There's going to be all new scams, 6 months from now or a year from now that we've never even heard of. But there's always someone trying to victimize someone. It
And
just doesn't surprise me at all.
and Rebecca, that one to me sounds like that may not necessarily be a scam, but more the furniture company sort of in an effort to they had sort of a relationship with another company where they're sort of sharing their customer database essentially with another company that's selling an adjacent product or service. Not necessarily something that I think any of us would be happy about. But again, in the same situation, it's like, look, I bought a couch. I want the couch delivered. I do not want to talk to somebody about, getting a dining room table as well, or a car or something like that. We just be a strong advocate for yourself. Chris says, after my father died, my mother received a sizable check from the bank made out to him. She called the number to let them know he had died and it needed to be made out to her as a surviving widow. When the bank sent someone to her house to collect the check for taxes, she would owe on the check when they made it out to her. Shoot. Okay. Uh, I don't know. Can you sort through that one, y'all? After my father died, mother received a sizable check from the bank made out to him. Okay, now this is where I think most of us are most vulnerable, is when a loved one dies and there's financial decisions to be made. And this is one where I would be proceeding with caution, and the fact that she has a daughter that cares about her is, if we're in a situation like this, is call up people that you can trust, your daughter, your attorney. Go down to the bank and talk to the bank manager in person. Um, I know that I think this question and statement here has more to do with estate planning and the ability to transfer assets after one has passed away.
Right.
Okay. Okay. Some good comments from Walter. Holy cow! I'm looking at the clock here. We're at 10 minutes to the hour. Okay. Danielle says, my father was just recently scammed by someone who claimed to be from Amazon and was offering additional services, but needed to verify his identity first by having him read all of his credit card numbers and details. All the cards were hacked. Okay, now, you guys jump in here, but here's where how the scammers work. They know most of us are shopping on Amazon. It's kind of like shooting fish in the barrel. So, hey, Steve, you just ordered something from Amazon. And no, I didn't. Click. Okay. But what if I just literally finished ordering something from Amazon? You can see how, like John said, there's a little truth there mixed up in a lie.
Yeah, you just have to be skeptical of everything. I do not like living in a world where I have to be like that, but I assume every phone call, every email, every text message is a scam unless it's someone I know.
Yeah, exactly. And going back to, hey, we need to verify your who you are. Say this is a tech support company. Hey, we're speaking on the computer. You've been hacked. But before we proceed they've instilled the fear, but hey, before we move any quicker, we need to identify you. And also we have to move quickly because these threats are on your computer right now, creating that sense of urgency. So the individual's going to say, what I need you to do, and I need you to do it quickly, is pull out your driver's license and hold it up to the camera so that we can verify you are who you are. And bam, the attack has already happened. So if anyone's speaking to you on the computer and asking you to hold up a credit card or your driver's license to that camera, don't do it.
Man, okay.
And absolutely never give remote access. You know, many of the schemes I'm seeing right now, the criminals are asking for remote access. Now, they won't call it remote access. They'll just say, we need you to accept this, or we need you to enter in a number so we could refund you some money. But when you give remote access, it's like giving someone unfettered access to your computer, all your passwords, all your bank accounts, all your emails, and everything. The last thing in the world you ever want to do is give criminals that remote access. So if they send you a little message on the screen, you just shut your computer off and walk away. Like, don't even mess with these people, because it's tragic.
Okay. Let's see. Someone asks, how long is a scandal or fraud legally prosecutable? Do you know?
Yeah, it depends on the statute of limitations. You know, it depends on the crime, each different statute of limitations. Wire fraud, mail fraud, money laundering, you know, things like that, anywhere from, you know, 5, 6 years, things like that. It's tough getting these criminals. The government does get some of them, yes, but there are a lot that cannot be caught because they're in jurisdictions we can't touch, or we just can't find the people, or it's not large enough to, you know, government has limited resources. That's why we can't prosecute our way out of this problem. Our way to stop this problem is doing what we're doing, is prevention.
Yeah, Wall Street Journal recently did a podcast and an article on a timeshare thing in Mexico, and it
Yep.
was uncovered that it's one of the drug cartels was behind this, and the end result was nobody's going to get their money back. You know, the money is in a Mexican drug cartel. The key is to stop any future fraud and get people to stop giving their money. Okay. Okay, let me keep on going here. I'm going to remind people this is recorded. I'll get it up there with contact information for John and Brian. And we've got some other great resources like Jackie. We've got Walter from the Montgomery County on, and I'll cut and paste their websites in there too. Okay. Let's see, Walter. Influence and fraud. As a rule, I have found that the greater brain a man has and the better he is educated, the easier it's been to mystify him. That's a quote from Harry Houdini yeah. Scammers are adept at exploiting human motivations to manipulate and deceive their victims. Very well said. Let's see. We talked about the Amazon. Jackie says, never answer a call to a number you don't recognize. Hey, folks, when you call me on my cell phone, more than likely you're going to get my voicemail. I need to be more diligent in going through my voicemail and listening to those. But the bottom line is I don't need to pick up and talk to somebody. I can listen. We can all listen to the voicemail and then determine, is this somebody that I can be calling back? Barbara says, I got a text from BOA about a fraudulent charge in my account. The text came from a 10-digit number, not the customary 5-digit text number. They almost got me. Oh man.
That's that's a very typical smishing text, short message service. That's why that's the name for a text message. I get one almost every day from purportedly from the US Postal Service saying I have a package that can't be delivered. And that it's very similar to a phishing email, but this is a smishing text. They want you to click on that link. Do not click on that link. Don't take the bait.
Now, Mary says, my rule is don't pick up a phone until I hear a voice I recognize. Your opinion? And I think we all need to also be aware of this artificial intelligence with voices and things of that nature. What are your thoughts on Mary's rule about the voice that she recognizes and picking up the phone?
So I'll hit on that. Let's talk about artificial intelligence, right? I mean, last year, the year before, I could say this year is going to be worse than last year in the chances of an elderly person losing their life savings. That's a true statement every year. But when artificial intelligence came along, that exponentially increased the likelihood. That coupled with cryptocurrency now are the two pieces of technology that I think these predators are combining together, and now they're able to be much more effective as predators in convincing the seniors. So one piece that I'm hearing, and I believe it to be true, is families need to harden the target by coming up with a password. So if you do get a call, hey, your grandson's been in a car wreck, okay, here we go. And typically that scenario will play out. They hit a woman who's 7 months pregnant just to instill the fear, but that's the standard line. Then you ask, the code word. Well, what is my grandson's nickname? Something like that, and you can pretty quickly flush out that that's a scam.
The other thing, if your grandson's in an accident and this, that, and the other, it's again, you can hang up that call and you can call back to your son or your daughter-in-law. You don't, I mean, again, I think one thing that we've talked a lot about today is just disconnecting from folks. And what's the worst thing that's going to happen is, Mom, why did you hang up on me? I was trying to call you. And it's sort of like, honey, I don't want to be a victim to a scam. I was on a webinar. I talked to somebody. I've been hearing about all these scams and things like that. And then maybe having a dialogue with our son or daughter or loved one on, okay, here's going to be a special code word that we use that nobody else will know. Let's see. Danielle says, I think my father gave remote access as well. Their smart thermostat could not be reprogrammed after. Holy cow. The thermostat could not be reprogrammed. Jackie has some 4 signs of a scam. Scammers pretend to be from an organization. Scammers say there's a problem or a prize. Scammers pressure you to act immediately. Scammers tell you to pay in a specific way. That's good. Good one, Jackie. Jackie says, I teach about scams and I've been scammed 3 times. Okay, so like none of us are immune to this. Walter says, have a safe word for your family members. Susan says, don't pick up the phone unless I know the number. More often than not, no one leaves a message. And our legitimate loved ones, if they need to get in touch with us, they'll leave a message. Or in the modern world, we all know what happens is you call somebody up, you don't get them verbally, you immediately send them a text message, and you can see exactly who you're talking to.
Yep.
Let's see. Yeah, the voice recognition can't work anymore. Our voices can be reproduced. It's horrible. But again, like your son calling you and it sounds like his voice, but the number on the phone does not match, or just saying, Johnny, I'm going to call you back. I'm hanging up. I'm calling you back, and then you call your son. It's like, Mom, I wasn't calling you. Okay. Okay. Eve says families can combat the AI voice scams by creating a safe word or code word to make sure that it's not the scammer. Is this a good strategy?
Yeah. Yeah, it's simple, right? I mean, and that's the other thing too. Simple strategies, the vulnerability assessment, that's simple, right? 17 questions. It doesn't take much to harden the target, and it doesn't take much training too, right? I mean, this conversation is an excellent training resource, but continue your own training.
Okay. And let me go up here. It says, Edith says, I keep getting calls saying there's something wrong with my computer and they can fix it. I hang up. I called Apple and they said it was a scam. Good job, Edith. Deb says, if you think you're being targeted by a scammer, do you ever recommend playing along? For instance, if they are trying to pick something up at your house as part of a scam, you could have law enforcement come to intercept them. Or are there things that we can do to thwart their efforts, like keeping them on the phone for a long time, pretending we're going along? I'm curious, two law enforcement people, what do you think about what Deb's question there?
My general advice is don't engage with these people. Maybe you think you have a little fun, you're wasting their time, but it's just you're dealing with the next level predator.
Yeah, let me echo that too. I hear the same thing when I give presentations, and they do. When the person that's telling me this, oh well, I'll keep them on the line, and they have fun with that. And I go, hey, don't play with the predators, man, because you don't know how skilled this individual is, and the longer they keep you on the line, the more intelligence they're gaining on you. So do not engage. Don't try to set up a sting operation to where you're going to lure them to your home to pick up a payment, and then you call law enforcement. I've seen that happen. It's been successful, but I don't recommend it because you don't know who you're dealing with.
Okay. Folks, you can see in chat, we got tons of chat messages here, but this one from talking about, getting text messages and things like that. And for example, you get a text message that says, Mom lost my phone. Please call this number. Again, more than likely that is a scam. And the response to that should be calling that person's phone number that says that they lost the phone. Right. All right. Thanks Greg. Okay. Okay. Oh wow, it's 1:07. I'm gonna try to go through these. Can you all hang on a little bit? There's some really good stuff in here. Susan says, my parent got caught in the grandson arrested scam, and the scammer posing as their grandson told them not to call his parents. They listened long enough to wire $1,000 and then decided to call their grandson, who luckily picked up the phone and told them everything was fine. Yeah, I mean, I think hindsight being 2020, these are just skilled manipulators and they're preying on our emotions, and we need to take a beat, a pause, hang up, call the interested parties out there. Let's see.
They're going to say, don't hang up and don't tell anyone.
Yeah.
That way they maintain control of you, and they've isolated you as well.
Okay. Okay. All right. I think we got through most of the chat and most of the questions. This has been amazing. And again, none of us have a magic wand. What I love about today's discussion is we've got two great organizations, two former, law enforcement officers that are now operating nonprofits to try to eliminate this. But then look at all the great resources that were in the chat from others that are out there. And I really like, John, I liked how you shared those case studies, because that really got us all thinking and seeing how bad things are. But just here in our little discussion, there were 3 or 4 real life stories that people were talking about their parents. And we all just need to be really diligent and advocate for ourselves and those loved ones around there. Oh, okay. Somebody asks, how do I hire you for a talk to a senior, to seniors living in a senior building? Both of your organizations are free of charge for the talks. Nobody pays you, very few people pay for you to go out and give a talk in the jurisdictions that you serve.
I've been paid for some talks
Okay.
in a form of donations, and donations are greatly appreciated. But I've also gone and done talks for free too.
So the person that's asking that question, they're anonymous. What I would say is on the recording link, you can reach out to Brian and John, and then like here we've got Jackie up in Baltimore. We got the police department in Montgomery County. Hopefully you can find some resources to come out and talk to your senior building. And the way that John and Brian's organizations operate is through donations. So, I think the way most of the time it's like, hey, we'll come out and give a talk. And if there's no funding, there's no funding. But if your organization can pass the hat around and make a donation, it certainly helps organizations like John and Brian's.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for mentioning that. We're a startup nonprofit. We want to grow, so donations are a large part of that.
And Michelle says, my son said, no way, because the guy could fool me. My son might be vulnerable too. Yeah. I mean, this is, while older adults are a target, all of us are, regardless of our age and ability, are vulnerable to the scams.
Yeah, true.
All right. Well, this has been a great talk. I will get to work getting this up there. John and Brian, thanks so much. Thanks to everybody that participated today. We will definitely do some more talks on this topic. And I'd love to, let's see if we can make a follow-up with the Wayne State University folks in that vulnerability survey. I'd be curious because he's got the data of all the people that have filled out that survey. That would be interesting to dive into that.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, let's see. Rebecca asks, what is a scam baiters video?
I think what they're referring to is there are people that have YouTube channels and YouTube videos where they just keep a scammer on the line for a long time and basically mess with the scammers. There's people that make a living doing that. So instead of engaging with one to keep them on the line yourself, go on YouTube and just have some fun watching other people do it. And it's a whole lot safer.
Ah, okay. Okay, good, very good. And again, that's that's a service to us all, is unfortunately seeing, okay, it's what Deb was saying. Is there a benefit to holding a scammer on the line? More than likely, you're not going to help get them arrested. But if you're a scam baiter, they're videotaping this, so we can all see how ridiculous this stuff is. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. All right. All right, folks. We will be talking to you at the next one. Have a great day, and let's keep everybody safe out there. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it.
You bet.
Thank you.